guys want to see the gym?
Yes, we do.
Let's check it out.
That is a big garage door.
It takes a while.
Yeah, okay, huge garage door. It's honestly like, this is the size of most people's garage gyms, or like a 2-car, maybe a little bit deeper, but the ceiling height is freaking epic. Yeah, this is sick. Does the weather get, here in California, does it change enough to where you need heating or cooling, or do you just always have it open?
Yeah, I don't even have climate control. Yeah, so this area, I mean, usually during the summer months we get a lot of fog, but it still stays pretty mild. Cool. Usually between like 50 and 70, and then the rest of the year it's between 50 and 75 most of the year. So.
Okay, I noticed the propane heater.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's like a garage gym staple, I mean, most garage gyms have something like that, and that's how they heat their space.
Totally, yep.
The only thing, you need a fan to direct it down.
Oh, I can't direct it down, but I've got a fan.
Oh, nice, okay,
That's
cool.
up top,
yeah,
so at least when it gets hot, I can run the fan.
Okay,
yeah.
Sweet. All right, so you got flooring here, turf here. How are you using the turf for your training right now?
After today's video, there is a link down below for Thrive Market. Now that is going to get you 30% off your entire grocery order. Okay, so if you are doing paleo, maybe you're doing keto, maybe you're intermittent fasting, you're trying different things out. Wish there were grocery stores that were dedicated for what kind of diet you were doing, right? Well, Thrive Market is like that. You just sort by whatever diet type you're doing and you can shop. It opens up a grocery store for you right there digitally for whatever diet you're doing, which is super cool. But the best part is using that link, you save 30% off your entire grocery order, plus a $50 free gift because you're using that link through one of my videos. So check out Thrive Market after today's video to save some cash and get some awesome products.
It's more aesthetic than anything else, to be honest here. Like, so I've got, my other gym down in Southern California, that's got a bigger, larger strip of turf that I'll use for sleds and stuff like that. This is almost, it's a place for me to be on the ground, do mobility work, things like that. So I'm not doing anything like super aggressive, but it is the turf, like you can feel it's the higher end turf that's super. That was in my pocket. Sorry.
You're good.
So yeah, it's the turf that has that padding in the bottom there. So it's got a good cushion to it. So if I'm ever doing any kind of plyometric work at all, it makes more sense for me to do it here. Plus I like the idea that it's not a stable surface. Here I'm stable. I just like to do all kinds of, that's why I have my squat rack on the turf. Like I want to be a little bit unstable. I'm not doing any like super maximal lifts, so it doesn't really matter.
You have a few different, or you have two here specifically that you can put weight on. Which one are you, like if you were to squat, are you squatting on that one over there or this one here?
Usually this one. The reason I have another one is just because if I have someone coming over here and I'm training with someone or I'm shooting a collab or anything like that, and we're doing like a Metcon style workout where we're doing like an EMOM and every minute on the minute, and like someone else needs to squat, we're not fighting for the rack.
The most impressive thing here is this, it's all connected, right? This is all connected. So if I'm pushing on here, it's affecting that chain over there, which means it's just insanely stable. This is 11 gauge. All this stuff is 11 gauge from Torque. This stuff is intense. So how many boxes, crates did this thing show up in?
It was pretty ridiculous.
I bet, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. And and then the funny thing is, as you well know, is like when you order a dumbbell, it's like one dumbbell comes in its own crate.
Oh, totally.
With like a million padding around.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is
like a nesting doll.
Like, this is going to be my bench. Yes. Oh wait, no, it's a 15-pound dumbbell.
Just a little dumbbell. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is cool. So this rack here is where you're doing most of your training. Is there enough space here to put a plate on and everything?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. It connects. This is more of like a commercial type of unit. Like most home gyms wouldn't have this big monkey apparatus here.
Yeah, and when I talked with Torque, when we kind of were designing this, and like I wanted it with the car in mind, right? Like, so it was all about the image with this. I knew I was going to film here. I was like, I've got the car. I was like, and we wanted this color scheme worked well because I knew Torque had this nice orange that I really like.
Sure. And
then, so I was like, okay, I want something that the car can go underneath where it looks kind of cool, and then pull the car out, work out. And so this thing came in handy for my training too, because I didn't think I was going to be doing monkey bar stuff. And the kids love it when they come work out with me. So
it sounds silly, but every time I go to the park, I'm always using the monkey bars, and I'm like, how can I get a set of monkey bars in my house? So I may have to get. I'm actually pretty jealous of this because I would use this a lot.
And something that I didn't think I was going to really care for that much. Is being able to do like lateral work.
Okay.
You don't really think about that kind of stuff.
Totally.
And that's that has been a game changer just for even my thoracic mobility, just being able to kind of do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And just having the room for it.
You move much better than I thought you'd move. For how much muscle you have, like seriously, like I did not expect you to get up there like that. Okay, so you got some dumbbells here. These go up to 70, looks like. Is that
but the rest are over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you got them all the way up. Are you doing a ton of dumbbell work? Like, how do you change your training between like barbell, dumbbell?
Yeah, I mean, I really do it all. Like,
Okay.
I really do it all. I really try to be universal. I just want to be able to get on the ground with my kids and move now. So
Sure.
less and less barbell work
Okay.
and moving a lot more into kettlebells.
Yeah.
That's becoming more of a thing for me. It just feels better on the wrists.
Okay.
But I mean, dumbbells are near and dear to me. So all my carries, all my, yes, every day I'm using them at least a little bit.
I'm the same way. My training used to be like barbell focused. It was like squat, deadlift, bench, overhead press, and that was the training, and then accessory movements. But I'm doing so much more unilateral work. So doing a lot with kettlebells, a lot with dumbbells, and then I'll use. Do you have a landmine in here? Oh yeah, you do.
Yes, I got 2 landmines.
Okay, yeah. So I use landmines a lot. Do you find landmines in your training very much, or?
It depends. Like I go through phases. I think like everybody else,
Sure.
right? It's I have periods of time where, like there was a period of time where I think I literally said this is the one piece of equipment that anyone could ever like need. Like if that was beyond like a dumbbell, kettlebell, barbell thing. So yes, for all kinds of like rotational work, things like that.
Cool.
One of the things I really don't have that I really want to get is one of the Viking attachments.
Sure, yeah, Viking press, that's cool.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, totally. You have a ton of places to do pull-ups, obviously this entire monkey rig, but also on these squat racks here too. If you're gonna do a set of pull-ups, where are you grabbing?
So this is a good thing, funny that you asked this, right?
Okay.
So it's a love-hate relationship with this bar.
Okay.
Because what I found is that like when I was building out another gym, I'm like, you know what? Jimmy over at Torque, I was like, please, I don't want this setup. Because I don't try not to hit this bar here, but it's like such an ergonomic position that it feels almost unnatural. And I found like I was getting so much lat development out of it, just with how it was starting to actually cause me some problems. So I'm like, I want to go back to just a regular straight bar to be able to work on that shoulder mobility more. Because that is designed to be easier, like with that tilt.
Yep.
So, but I do like the V grip. I do like, or that kind of narrow grip.
Yep.
But I also just like to do mixed grip stuff. So I like to be able to do where I'm having one hand up here, one hand here, doing weird kinds of pull-ups.
Okay.
Rotating.
Why do you like doing that? Just because that's more natural? Like
I think a lot of, like I have rock climbing background when I was younger.
Cool.
Brings me back to that, hence the rock climbing handles too. It's just nice, and it's like a little bit nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I used to be able to do cool now I can't do it.
If you think about it, if you're out in nature, there's no tree that has a perfectly straight branch. You know what I mean? Like you would never be pulling on something like that.
Definitely.
You would be pulling on something uneven. So I don't train like that, but that's cool. Med balls up top.
Yep.
Plyo box. Tell me, we've talked a little bit about cuffs off camera, but I have never used BFR cuffs. How are you using these, and why are you using them?
Yeah, this is a staple for any gym I will ever be in. Like this is.
Dang, okay.
And this comes from me having so many injuries in the past. BFR has just been a game changer because I can get the same sort of hypertrophy response. I can get the same stimulus, and I'll kind of explain what I mean in a second, without heavy load. And I've gotten to a point in my life now where I don't want to load super heavy. It's just not exciting for me, and it hurts. So this particular run is from Smart Cuffs, but there's a couple of companies that make them. There's Be Strong makes a really good one.
Okay.
The best unit out there is probably the Delphi unit. That's like a $5,000 unit, which is why I don't have one, because it just can't justify it. I think Smart Cuffs is bang for the buck, a really good value.
Okay.
So the idea behind BFR is not like where you see the guys that just put a random strap on their arms. Like that is, in my opinion, kind of dangerous.
That's always made me nervous. Like that's one reason I've never done it is I've heard horror stories of people using like bands or something, and they're just restricting blood flow completely.
Totally. Yeah, you can collapse a valve. You can do. I mean, and it scares people from wanting to do it the right way.
Yeah.
I learned about this from one of the most reputable physical therapists that I know. That is a physical therapist for a number of the individual players on the Rams, and I mean he's just an awesome guy, and he's like turned me onto this with a lot of my injuries. So you need to be able to like get blood flow into an area. You need to be able to get that hypertrophy response you're looking for. But what's interesting is if you start understanding lactate, and so I'll talk to the camera a little bit here directly because when you have this burn that you're getting when you're training, that burn is in essence, it's kind of the buffering of hydrogen, but we associate it with like a lactic acid buildup or a lactate response. Okay, that burn is still lactate at the end of the day. Like you're still associated, that same burn is relative with lactate going up. So lactate is a signaling device, which means lactate is essentially, it's telling our brain in some ways, you've reached this threshold. So being able to achieve a point where you get that burn is almost a rite of passage in a lot of ways for adaptation to begin. So that's why like training to your lactate threshold or your anaerobic threshold is going to be like what allows you to get better. So it literally acts as a signaling device. So it signals to the brain, hey, begin triggering adaptation. When you put a BFR cuff on and you train with it properly, you reach that lactate point very, very quickly. So you're triggering the signal for hypertrophy and you're triggering the signal for advancement and adaptation much quicker. Granted, it's never going to replace proper stimulus, but like say like it's a day where I don't have a lot of time. I have 20 minutes and I need to be able to load the muscle in a certain way. That's exactly a perfect time when I would throw this on. And also the pump, like a lot of times we discount the pump because there's
I love the pump.
I mean, we all love it, right? It's like, but so many people will say like, stop chasing the pump. It's all about stimulus. It's all about this. And you go, no, I mean, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like the pump is a very important part of nutrient delivery, of angiogenesis, of actually developing, you know, new blood flow into the periphery. Very, very important.
Okay, those are sweet. You've got a glute ham roller. Are you using, like, I notice for how much muscle you have no machines in here. Like I even went to Marcus Philly's gym and he's got, you know, he's got a bunch of Atlantis like commercial equipment. You're not training with machines at all, or just kind of when you're in here?
No, I mean, if I go to a gym, I might. But you know what's weird is like now I get to a point where like my likelihood of getting injured is higher using a machine than it is when I'm just training.
See, I think that's incredibly encouraging for home gym owners because there's just there's no way to get the exhaustive amount of machines you could get in a commercial gym. And a lot of people that are going from commercial gym to home gym are like, man, I really like how much muscle I can keep on because I'm isolating through different machines. Can I get that same stimulus when I'm at home? And I think you're a perfect example of like, man, like you can keep on a lot of freaking muscle training with squat racks, maybe a cable machine, and adding some of these special tools.
I definitely agree.
Okay, that's sweet. Right here is a cable machine. This is like the one machine you've got. You don't even have a lat pull in here. Are you using this for lat pulls and like low rows, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I will. I do, you know, yeah, exactly that. You know, I'll do some, or I'll rig it. Sometimes I'll put a plate, you know, put a plate in front of it here. So so that I can kind of get a, simulate sort of a seated row. Just put a plate there so my feet are planted. You know, and then I can simulate the seated row.
Cool.
But I figure lat pull downs are what caused a lot of like my sort of thoracic immobility in the first place. So I'm kind of like, screw you, lat pull downs. Like, I don't want anything to do with you because it's like I'm really strong in the back and I tend to like, so I'm like, you know what, I'll switch it over to pull-ups and like be good with that. And it's helped me more than it's hurt me.
This is a sweet machine because you can see it's got the double pulleys. I would guess this is either 2-to-1 or 4-to-1. Let me see how far back it goes. Okay, so this is actually a 4-to-1 pull. So the felt weight that's on here, despite the stack, is basically probably a quarter of that. But what happens is, because there's two pulleys, you can combine them and get to a 2-to-1 ratio, which is sick. So if you want to get really heavy, if that's not enough, you can combine them. That a lot of machines don't do that, so that's pretty sweet. I like that. I see the Kensui vest.
Yes.
I just actually told Marcus about that. That's your only weight vest in here. I see. Are you using that very often? Do you use it for pull-ups?
Mainly for pull-ups. You know, pull-ups, push-ups, bodyweight squats. I still love just throwing like a more natural feeling like load on. One of the things I do want to get is like, what is it? Is it the, how do you say, Omorpho or what? Have you seen the one? It was like got the little, it's got like little pellets. So it's like you can wear, it's like a shirt that you just wear.
Hypervest has one like this.
Oh, really?
That's like that. Yeah, they're like little metal or rectangles.
Oh, nice.
And you can just fit them in. Yeah, and it like we've got like 4 of them, and they feel like shirts. The problem is they can't go like this thing can go heavy.
Yeah, I could throw 2 45s on.
Oh yeah, dude. Like when you're throwing 45s on here, it feels really awkward. But I've seen people that use these for like squatting and stuff. Say they don't have space for a barbell, and like you could put a lot of weight on here. But you're using 10s on here.
Yeah, nothing
I don't
crazy.
think that, yeah, but I mean, the size of it, I don't feel like when I'm wearing this, it's not too big.
No,
like, it's not super cumbersome.
No, it's nice, and it's just and you look like a total like crazy person.
Oh,
when you're walking down
yeah.
the
You
street.
look like Captain America kind of
Yeah.
when you got a
Yeah.
big old plate on your chest. Yeah. But that's okay because you're putting muscle on. You look better in them after. You got some ATG buddies.
Yep.
We use these at Marcus's gym and also some slant. Are you using slants very often?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Since becoming friends with Ben, yeah.
Dude, he turns like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
talk to that guy. It's like, oh man, I need to start throwing in some like different exercises and specifically using these. Okay. Have you seen any improvement in
man.
knee function and?
My knees weren't bad off. I mean, they were bad 10 years ago, but so I didn't really need help with the knees. But what I have noticed is just throughout the groin, throughout like the hamstrings, and just being able to get into better glute activation by doing that has helped. So.
Sweet. Yeah, I use them a lot too. One way I use them is I do a lot of sitting in the squat. So just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to improve my hip function and my knee function, and just trying to make that position resting. And that has helped me because my ankle mobility isn't great.
Yeah.
And it's helped me just over time. Just now I can get almost to a full flat foot squat and just sit there for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I love it. This is a pretty cool piece because I do a ton of med ball work.
Yep.
So having a stable surface in this, there's not, I guess you got a concrete wall here, but you've also got, your whole, what do they call it? What do they call the power switch?
Oh, the breaker box.
Yeah, you've got a breaker box over here, so you don't really want to throw things against the breaker box. So having a wall dedicated that you can throw stuff against is nice. How are you using this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for torso throws, things like that. Like
Those guys,
Sweet, yeah,
being able
yeah,
to,
yeah.
like, it's just nice and it's like smooth, so I can. It's not
Sweet.
like doing it on a.
drywall where it's like it feels weird and you're
Totally.
making your drywall all dirty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, okay. And then Assault bike, the cardio equipment you've got, Assault bike, Assault runner, Stairmaster, ski erg, and a rower.
Yep.
Which one out of all these is your favorite, other than the Stairmaster?
I don't even touch the Stairmaster.
Do you not? Dude, I
that's
love
a wife thing. That's a
Stairmasters.
wife thing.
Okay, I love Stairmasters.
I used to be all about it just because, you get your sweat on quick, but I felt like I was just developing like my quads and like because you're just you're stepping up and then it's doing the rest for you.
Totally.
So I'm like, it's all hip flexors, and I was
It's
like,
true, yeah.
as someone with as a runner, I was like, this is starting to bother me.
Okay.
But my wife just should go on that thing forever. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
That's a tough one to answer. Which one is my favorite?
Yeah, if you were like, all right, home gym owner, so not even for you, maybe just think for like
Okay.
home gym owners, when you're recommending a piece of conditioning equipment, out of the ones that you have, if they could only have one, which one would you recommend?
Okay. I'm probably going to lean towards a rower.
Okay.
And I love Assault. I love Roger. He's a good friend. Like, he's
Cool.
an awesome dude.
Yeah.
I think as far as a rower is concerned, I would probably recommend someone get a C2 rower
Sure.
versus the Assault rower.
Yeah.
Assault takes the cake on the treadmill for sure. Arguably, I really like the ergonomic feel of this bike.
Yeah, their treadmill is my biggest recommendation too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so well done.
I
Yeah.
just
and the price is great too.
It is, man. And for a home gym owner that maybe just like, especially if they have a climate where they can run outside, I'm like, don't waste the space in your garage, run outside. I love a rower because it folds up.
Yeah.
But I also like, if you just look like wattage for wattage and like what you get out of cardio, you get a ton. If you're rowing properly, like 10 minutes on that rower. This is anecdotal, but it's probably like 20 minutes on this.
Okay. Yep, yep.
It's like, and you can really push it. And I think it really teaches you to breathe proper, which I think is a really important thing.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say that's my favorite piece. This chain-driven setup versus, with the, it's very different. Obviously, it's not adjustable resistance like the C2.
Yeah.
So it's a different feel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I like it more or less. It's just different.
Sure.
Right?
No, I've used it. If I was going to choose one, it would be the ski erg.
I love the ski erg.
I love the ski erg. I like that. This is random, but something I like about it is I don't have to strap in. For some reason, just the idea of, all right, I just go in, grab the handles and go.
Yeah.
I just really like that ability, and I can just move. I'm not like sitting on something. I do enough sitting, in front of my computer. I like being able to just stand and just rip.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about the ski erg is you don't have to have a stand. So in garage gyms, a lot of times people are parking their cars. They can just bolt that to the wall, and it takes up like no space.
Yeah.
But I agree, rowers are fantastic. I mean, I've got all these tools too, and the rower and the ski erg are the ones that I probably use the most. Yeah. That's cool. All right, you got a bunch of slam balls here. How are you using those for slams? Or are you using them for carry? I mean, you got some heavy ones there.
Yeah, the heavy ones obviously, like, you know, the big guy is the 90-pound. This is more of like, you know, obviously for a carry or for some kind of like over the shoulder thing like that, which I'm a huge fan of.
Okay.
And then I mess around with all kinds of different stuff. I mean, it's various, like one thing, I'm a big fan of drop sets in anything.
Okay.
So I do drop set carries, which people just don't typically do.
Yeah.
Like I'll do like an over the shoulder carry with a 90, and then I'll come back with an 80, and then I'll come back with a 70 until I'm just gassed.
That's cool.
And I've always like, I would go on record to say like I built my physique with drop sets. Like I think like, and similar like how Marcus Philly's always training, like I feel like always moving.
Yeah.
Like I've always been that way, like always keeping stimulus and under load. And I feel like it's the best way, like the CrossFit mentality sort of validated how I had felt about being able to maintain intensity.
Okay.
There's something about that. And like when you start going into maximal and submaximal loads, like your intensity gets gassed and you start going just into central nervous system sort of overload.
Yeah.
But like doing drop sets and things like that, you're able to maintain intensity and mental intensity because you're dropping. You know, it's kind of like if you were to do, I don't know, somewhere where you're like, okay, you're gonna do 20 calories on the bike, 20 reps here, 15 calories in the bike, 15 reps here, 10, 10. It's like you're maintaining that intensity because mentally you're like, I only have to do 10 calories.
Yeah.
But that 10 calories is just as hard as the 20.
Totally.
Because you're gassed.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a great point. I've never done drop set on carries.
Maybe we'll do some today.
Yeah, I'd like to try it. You talk about Ben Patrick with the ATG buddies. He's obviously a fan of sled work.
Yes.
Has he inspired you in any way to do the sled work? Like I do a lot of push-pull type stuff where I'm walking backwards. Are you using the sled in that way or using it more for like HIIT type stuff?
More so for HIIT.
Okay.
But since meeting Ben, I'm like, okay, cool. I guess this is killing two birds with one stone. I'm getting this cool kind of rehab effect too.
Sure.
And interestingly enough, I always noticed that the day after doing sled work, my runs would always feel really good.
Okay.
Like I'm like, as long as I'm not getting super sore from it, but if I'm just activating and doing really well, and maybe just doing like maybe 400 yards of sled pushes, I'm like the next day, I'm getting into hip extension. I'm like, it's doing something magical.
Yeah.
Right? And then Ben just kind of reaffirmed this, like, oh, it is. It's just helping me. This makes sense now.
Okay. Are you still running quite a bit?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Dang. So what do you say to the person that's like, man, I don't want to run because I don't want to lose muscle mass. I don't want to run because, you know, it's just like, it's a lot of impact on my joints. Like,
yeah, the impact on the joints is hard to negate, right?
Okay.
That's a serious thing. If the impact on your joints really does bother you, running's not for you.
Okay.
And I really I think walking is tremendous. Like,
Sure.
do you have the time to go walk or?
That's what I do a lot. Yeah.
Like I would say more often than not, I just like to walk, right?
Okay.
But you can multitask. I take my calls. I do all this stuff when I'm walking. If there are people think they're going to lose muscle or things like that, like that is a bona fide excuse. I mean, look at Nick Bear too, right?
Sure, dude.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
fair
dude.
point.
I mean, and you could. I've done videos on like explaining how the benefits of like running and cardiovascular exercise will actually help hypertrophy if you let it. The problem is people that get into the mode of running, and they are not compensating for that running with the protein that needs to be compensated. I ran today. Well, you still need to probably be eating 200 grams of protein if you're 200 pounds, if not more, because the amount of muscle breakdown with just that eccentric pounding, you need to rebuild with that. But you also, if they run, it's just, they're sacrificing their resistance training. So they're like, I'm going to run 4 days a week. Well, that's 4 days a week. You're probably not lifting. Right? So you need to lift too. Sounds like they need to get that checked out. That doesn't sound too good.
Reverse hyper.
Yes.
Big piece you've got in your gym, takes up a lot of space. I've got a reverse hyper. I've actually had a reverse hyper in every one of my garage gyms. Are you using this in like the Louis Simmons fashion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Really?
Traction, really. Yep. Got L4, L5, L5, S1, ruptured discs, and been that way for 10 years. And I'm not about to go under the knife for that. I don't think it's going to end well. I know literally every single person that I've ever known that has had lower back surgery has said their issues have either come back or they've ended up worse. Okay, like I'm not gonna go that route. And I know that, okay, how do you explain the fact that there's days that I feel really good and there's days that I don't feel really good? And outside of like diet and inflammatory issues that definitely play a role, I think traction is a really important piece. Like Louis Simmons talks about traction, like being able to basically like align your spine, activate right so you're getting proper traction with the spine. And it's,
so it's a huge piece for me. So like, and there's not much weight on here.
No.
I mean, I'm not strong on it either.
Yeah.
But I don't try to load crazy weight. I go for 20, 30 reps, and it is crazy. It just gets that juice into the back where like then I can do this, and squatting feels amazing.
Yeah. Do you have reverse hypers at some of your other gyms, or is this the only one?
This is the only one that I have it at. So I've kind of like rigged them before where I kind of like try to get the similar motion. But yeah, this is just because I got such a good deal on this on like Facebook Marketplace for $250. When this is like, what are these new? These are like a couple grand, right?
Yeah, they're probably like $1,500 now.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's increased in price.
Yeah.
You know, dramatically. But they're like this is a big piece. This is a Z Hyper. They went from using a 2x3 to a 3x3 because it needed more stability. It actually did. This thing is just so heavy.
Yeah.
That's a cool piece though. I also use reverse hyper, have for a long time, and I'll use mine in different ways. So I don't know if you've ever rigged up like a handle to this bottom bar. You can use it for pulls. Or there's a guy named Sam Dancer that'll use them for like one leg presses.
It's a good idea.
It's just like a lot of volume to get in there. Yeah, they're nice. Just another way that you can use the piece.
Super good idea.
Yeah. Okay. I think we covered most of the equipment. Is there any pieces that you're like, what's next on the horizon for adding to the gym?
Ooh, good question.
Because I know you're a gear guy. Like you just showed me your cars.
Yeah.
Like it never. I'm the same way, dude. Like there's always something else.
Yeah.
that I want to add.
There's been a lot of things. That's what's been on my mind lately. The iron neck has been something.
Dude.
I know that's a big one that you're like a fan of.
Yeah. When I first got it, I was like, this thing is gimmicky as all get out. Like it just looks like, all right, I look like an idiot wearing this. But I do jujitsu now, and I have for the past
you gotta have it then.
7 months. Yeah. Yep. So I'm using my neck all the time to post, or like just like if I've got somebody gripping, like I'm using it as like just to keep them close. And I found just keeping my flexibility and strength using the iron neck, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So it looks goofy, but yeah, I definitely recommend
That's
it.
exactly the kind of thing you do at a home gym too. It's like you don't want to look like a weirdo. Like
I wouldn't take that to a commercial gym. Can you imagine pulling that out and like looking around?
Yeah.
You know,
it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, totally.
I toyed around. I'm not going to get it because it's so big, but the Wenning Strength belt squat.
Yeah.
It's a huge piece of equipment.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome. But I haven't gotten it here. That's the one downside with torque is they've made it hard for attachments.
They have.
And they did that probably for a reason.
It's their own ecosystem, right? Like they're not using holes, they're using like these squares on the inside of the upright. Yeah.
Which is good and bad. Like I do think it's stable, I like it.
It is.
But it's difficult for, like I got that Revolt belt squat attachment.
Yep.
Dude, that thing works tremendous.
Sure.
Like I put it in and I know it's
so cheap too, and it's like
$200.
Yeah.
and realistically, it probably cost them like $40 to make.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they extend it. It's like a 16-inch or something, so I can load a ton of weight on it and talk about like decompressing the spine. Like one of my favorite things to do is when I have access to a belt squat is like do some marches, which is hard with the Revolt because the plate there. But like doing just some marches to open up the hips and decompress the spine, and then it's like I'm a whole new person when I'm running.
I'm trying to think of things I would recommend to add.
And we got the wall ball target.
Yeah, the wall ball target. Are you doing many wall balls?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
I know that's like a CrossFit type of training.
Wall ball target. I've got the endless rope.
Oh, you have the drum rope too.
Yeah.
How are you using this? Are you using it for more tricep, or you can also use it for bicep stuff?
No, I mean I use it cardio more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like just a functional cardio for me. And then I have their magnetic resistance one.
That's the one I've
got. Yeah, which is cool because then I can, once again, my drop sets, right? I'll put it high resistance, burn out, drop it, burn out, and just keep rolling. But again, this is something like my kids like to take this and try to swing and see what target they can hit.
Sure.
And my daughter is light enough that she can almost get to 3.
Really?
So she's like,
dang. Okay, cool. Sweet. Well, your gym is epic. I'm very jealous of the ceiling height. That's the thing I'm most jealous of. Yeah, I would love this. You need to like hang some rings from up top, or like
or a rope.
A rope would be amazing. Like that's what is this,
idea.
20 feet maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to drop from that, but that'd be a fun climb. Well, thank you for showing me the setup.
You bet.
I think we need to work out.
Let's work out. So before we wrap up, Coop, where can everyone find you though?
Okay, so Garage Gym Reviews, you can find our YouTube channel. Maybe you can put a link below the like button to Garage Gym Reviews, our YouTube channel. But if you're looking for any in-depth reviews on any gym equipment, we're Garage Gym Reviews on all platforms. And then our website, we literally have over 1,000 reviews on equipment. Anything you're looking for, garagegymreviews.com.
Right on, man. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
And as always, see you tomorrow.